Ms. Brown, you all set?
Yes.
Great, thank you very much.
They're pretty far away down the hall, Judge, so we'll just need a deputy, if I can give the name, someone would go get them and time them to testify.
Okay.
Appreciate that.
Or as you told me before, I guess they're not testifying.
I'm sorry, yes,
No,
Judge,
no.
give me a statement.
All right, Ms. Smith,
Yes.
are you ready for your first person who's giving a statement?
Yes.
Okay, why don't you call them?
Miss Sarah Carey. Casey, I'm sorry. Sarah Casey. And she can stand here, Your Honor, if that's okay.
Fine, sure. And just ask her if she wishes to make sure she speaks into the microphone.
Okay.
And it's Ms. Carey?
Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Carey. Go right ahead.
My name is Sarah Carey, and I am Gretchen's sister. It is important to me and my family that I stand here today, as hard as this is, and give my sister Gretchen a voice, and tell you how amazing she was. Gretchen was absolutely a beautiful person with the biggest heart. She cared deeply for her daughter, family, and friends, and would do anything for them. The biggest joy in her life was her daughter, Ava. She was a devoted mother who loved Ava with every ounce of her being. She always spoke proudly of Ava and every one of her accomplishments, no matter how big or small. She cared deeply about Ava's future and worked hard every day to give her daughter the best life. Gretchen's love for her daughter is a direct reflection of how deeply Gretchen was loved by her family. My mother, father, brother, and I loved her more than anything in this world. Our hearts are forever broken. I would like to take the time to thank everyone involved in helping attain justice for my sister. This includes the Jupiter Police Department, especially Detective Kennerson, the State Attorney's Office, specifically Crochet Nixon, Dr. Heather Walsh-Haney and her team from Gulf Coast University, the canine search dog Tucker and his handler Louis Ledbetter from the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office, all of Gretchen's friends and neighbors, all of her co-workers, and her entire family. What happened to Gretchen is truly horrific and has left us with deep sadness. We are truly grateful for how hard everyone worked to help attain justice and how compassionate they have been to our family. Now, I would like to say some words to the defendant, whose name and being are not worthy of the air we all breathe. Your statement will never mean anything to anyone. You are a fraud. Gretchen had a huge heart and saved your life when your car fell on you. Yet you killed Gretchen in that same garage where she saved your life. Then instead of confessing to the cruel murder that you committed, you used what you did to negotiate something for yourself. You are pure evil. You stole a mother away from her child, a daughter away from her mother, a sister away from my brother and me, an aunt away from my children, and a friend away from so many, all who loved her abundantly. You are a monster. You are a coward. Every birthday, holiday, graduation, milestone, marriage, birth, Ava and our family experience will never be the same because of what you did. You robbed us of these experiences with Gretchen. You don't deserve to have a life. You are pathetic and not worthy of happiness. One thing is definite. Gretchen believed in karma. And therefore, we can take some comfort knowing that every day you spend in prison will be as horrific as the murder you committed. You can never be forgiven. You are disgusting. Lastly, Your Honor, I would like to ask on behalf of Gretchen's entire family and her daughter that you have no mercy on this defendant and deny any special treatment that he requests. Every day for the rest of our lives, we have to live with the horror he has created. And we ask that his sentence be served in its entirety in a prison only suitable for those capable of such horrific evil. Thank you for your time.
Ms. Nixon, who else would you like to call?
That's actually going to be the only statement from the victim.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Ms. Scott?
Yes, Judge, defense of Deborah Chandler.
She got one.
Yes, she is. The next one they know will be Jillian Rodriguez. If you want to get her in line.
Judge Volker, how are you?
Very well, thank you. What would you like to tell us?
It's nice to see you again. I wish you were under different circumstances. By way of background, I am Deborah Chandler. David's mother, Susan, and I are cousins. We grew up together. We're literally the same age. We spent school holidays and summers together. We kept each other out of trouble and helped each other get into trouble our whole lives. We had our first children within 6 weeks of each other. My daughter Jillian, who is the next witness, and David are literally 6 weeks apart in age. Excuse me. They grew up together like siblings. I've literally known David his entire life. When David was growing up, he was a lot larger than the kids his age. They wouldn't even let him play on Little League teams and football with his age group because he was so much bigger than the other kids. And of course, the older kids that were his size picked on him. So he always had self-esteem issues. When he was in his teens and 20s, we started noticing behavioral issues. He started exhibiting signs of mental illness and depression. And we sought help for him. We never foresaw that he would harm anyone other than himself. Eventually, he was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. He would go to dark places in his mind, and he would isolate himself. You know, mental illness is a dreadful disease because you can't look at somebody and see that they suffer from it. And there's this horrible stigma attached to it. But we did seek help for him. And David tried to help himself. He became just incredibly conscious of everything he ate, and he tried to stay physically fit all the time, and he did an excellent job of it. The manifestations of mental illness make it so difficult to treat, because as soon as a person starts getting better, they think they don't need the medication anymore. And it's one of the symptoms of the illness. And I know the number of years you've spent in the criminal justice system, as I did, that, we've seen it over and over again. Florida's treatment of the mentally ill, in my opinion, is draconian. When Gretchen and David married, our family was so happy. Everyone could see how much in love they were, and they made a strikingly beautiful couple. Gretchen and her daughter became part of our family too. And we grieve her. We genuinely grieve her. But as a family now, we have to focus on David. We have to focus on getting him all the help that we can and tend to his needs. We'll stand by him and support him because we love him. I wish there was a magic elixir that would cure the disease of mental illness in everyone that has it. I am so very sorry that this happened. My heart breaks for everybody touched by it. I pray that the Crane family can find peace and forgiveness. I pray that we all will. As Jonathan Huell wrote, forgive others not because they deserve forgiveness, but because you deserve peace. And Judge, I pray for David so that he can forgive himself. The psychologist Tara Brach wrote, feeling compassion for ourselves in no way releases us from the responsibility of our actions. Rather, it releases us from the self-hatred that prevents us from responding to our life with clarity and balance. Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, with Mark. Jillian Rodriguez, Judge.
Come on up to the podium, Ms. Rodriguez.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Good afternoon. What would you like?
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Judge. Thank you for allowing the chance to speak today. My name is Jillian Rodriguez. I am David's cousin, which means he was my very first friend. For our first 10 years, we were only children of single mothers who were very close, and so we grew up together and shared many meaningful life experiences together. I always felt safe with him, even when we were being dumb kids, which was way more often than I'd like to admit. He's only a month older than me, but I always felt like he was my big brother. We went our separate ways for college, but we always kept up with our connection, especially after starting our own families. When I got the phone call about Gretchen, I just couldn't believe it. My heart hurt immediately for Gretchen's family as well as ours. My first question was, how could this happen? I still don't have the answer, and I'm trying to learn to live with the fact that I never will. David lives with mental illness, and while this is no excuse for what he did, I believe it can begin to explain how something like this that doesn't make any sense can happen. I know David believed he would never be truly happy and at peace, and I don't think he thought he deserved that. He spent his early years feeling awkward and out of place. So he made changes to his physical body and devoted his adult life to trying to help others feel good about themselves by eating healthy and taking care of themselves. He's an expert at taking care of his physical body, but I don't think he knew how to effectively take care of his mental health. He really tried, but the nature of mental illness tricks the brain into believing it doesn't need the help. I know he cares deeply for people because I have been on the receiving end of that love for a long time. My wish for David is that he will put as much energy as he does for others into his own mental health. I believe David, once he is able to heal and learn to manage his mental health, will have the opportunity to help others and do what he does best, which is pass his knowledge on to others. I love David and I always will. I hate what he did, but I know in my heart it was not done with evil intent. I know how remorseful he is and how much pain he is in. This is why I will continue to be a source of small moments of peace for David, because he has been a source of peace for our whole lives. I will be there to help remind him to keep moving forward and to use the gifts God has given him for good. I will be there to remind him that he is loved and that he is stronger than his illness. I will be there as he learns to create peace within himself. It will take a lot of work, but I will be here every step of the way, and I will pray for him, Gretchen, Ava, and both of our families every day. Thank you, Your Honor.
I'm called Carly Ann Robinson.
Good afternoon, Ms. Robinson.
Hello, sir.
What would you like to tell the court?
All right, good afternoon. My name is Carly, and I am David's younger sister. I want to start by extending my most sincere condolences to the entire Crane family, especially to Ava. Gretchen had a bright spirit and a kind soul, and I will forever remember her as someone who brought joy wherever she went. I never in a million years could have imagined that I'd be writing something like this. My brother has experienced and lived with mental health issues in his life, always the result of an inability to accept and love himself, but never unable to love or care for others. From scraped knees to splinters to broken hearts, my big brother has always been there for me, reminding me of my strengths and encouraging me to be the best version of myself possible, even when I faltered. This care he gave me throughout my entire life is the exact reason I never could have imagined being here. His lack of self-love made me worry for his own life at times, but here, never. You always hear people in similar situations say that they never could have predicted something like this would happen, and I finally understand the sentiment. You simply can't, in your darkest nightmares, imagine this kind of act being committed by someone you love. And you probably wouldn't imagine that you could still love them, but you really wouldn't know until you were in those shoes. I can tell you that in the past several months, I've experienced a slew of emotions when I think about my brother and what's unfolded. And at the bottom of a very heavy heart, I still love my brother very, very much. I have spoken with David, and I know that reality has begun to set in. I know he regrets not only his actions on that horrible day, but his actions that followed. I know that he suffered a mental breakdown that caused him to lose sight of reality and of what mattered most in his life. And I know that he couldn't be more remorseful for it. It feels unfair to have hope for my brother David's future, but I must. David was not born a murderer. He suffered a mental health crisis which was untreated and manifested into a heinous crime for which he will be held accountable. And I will be there for him to remind him of his strengths and to be the best version of himself within the circumstances. It will be David's job to do what he can to contribute to society in whatever positive way he can, and I hope that he works to do that. Both of our families, although affected in different ways, have been forever changed and have suffered tremendous loss. And so I leave off with this quote for us all. There is hope even when your brain tells you there isn't. May God comfort the Crane family and allow them to find the peace, grace, and comfort they need to move forward. Thank you so much.
Defendant called Ann Beta.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. I'm Annie. I'm David's aunt. My first letter is from my sister, his mother. My name is Susan Warner. I am David's mother. I love David, and I always will unconditionally. I cannot express in words how heartbreaking this tragedy is to all involved. To the Cranes, especially Jane, and to the Dryers, especially Ava, I send my love and prayers and hope someday you will all find forgiveness in your hearts. Our family has wanted to reach out to you, but knew no words would console, and we didn't want to add to your pain. We hope you know that we will always love and miss Gretchen. This horrific act does not define my son. David has battled with mental health issues more than half of his life. He has tried desperately to get help, but to no avail, thus taking it upon himself to get as healthy and fit as possible, to battle his illness as best he could. I know in my heart, if he got the help he so desperately needed, we would not be here now. I still believe someday he will be a motivational speaker. I pray the Lord helps him to find his purpose and show him the way to do well and help others. I want to thank Summer Barnes for all her help and guidance through this path that I never dreamed our families would be on. Last but not least, thank you, Judge Vogler, for letting us share our thoughts and sorrows. God bless you, and God bless us all. I am David's Aunt Annie, and I just want to begin by saying to Jane, Sarah, Jeffrey, and of course, dear Ava, on behalf of my entire family, and especially my sister Susan, how very sorry we are for your loss. We loved Gretchen. She was such a kind and loving mother, and we were so happy and grateful when she came into our lives. We had been praying for her safe return since we were told she was missing, and never did we ever imagine we would be where we are today. Two utterly devastated families trying to put the pieces back together after an unfathomable tragedy. I see her family picture every day on my refrigerator, and I have left the alert on my phone to remember her birthday, so that even if she is no longer here, she will never be forgotten. I go to Mass every week, and I pray for both of our families, but especially for Ava and for Gretchen's soul. Eternal rest unto her, O Lord, and let perpetual light shine upon her. May her soul and all of the faithful departed, through the mercy of God, rest in peace. To David, when you were born, I was only 10 years old, and I thought my sister had given me the best gift she could have ever given me, and I still do. I know you are not a bad person. I know one horrific act does not make up your entire character. I honestly do not know what about COVID-19 triggered such a fight or flight mechanism in your brain, and I will forever wonder if there was anything that could have been said or done to have stopped your manic episode from going so far. But second guessing won't help anyone at this point, and we will all have to live with the consequences of those actions. I always felt you would be a great motivational speaker for those who always considered themselves less than, unworthy, or unlovable. I know you always felt that way, but that was just not the case. Maybe where you are going, you will be able to help others that have had the same feelings. You still have the ability to atone for your sins. It's never too late to ask for forgiveness. God's mercy is always greater than our sins. I don't know what your purpose will be, but I do know it's not finished yet. But on the days you feel most alone, always remember, I love you, I love you, I love you. Father, I pray that David puts his trust in you because you are a firm foundation. You are close to the brokenhearted, and you save those that are crushed in spirit. I thank you for being the rock he can lean on. I pray that he can turn to you in his darkest moments because you can bring him out of it and build him up so that he is stronger than the thoughts he will battle with. Thank you, Lord. Amen. Thank you, Your Honor.
Finally, Judge, the defense calls David Anthony. May we move the microphone closer to him so he may sit here, Judge?
Go ahead.
could have taken years to prepare this statement, and it still would come out right. But it's from the heart. I understand my actions weigh heavy on the hearts of many in attendance today. So what do you say in a situation like this? How can my words have any weight given my crime? When will the pain end, knowing that I'm the cause of it? Coming from me, what words can console a family who has lost someone so dear, so tragically? Is there anything I can say that will comfort a girl who has lost a mother? Are there any words that will ease the burden of a mother who has lost a daughter?
No.
How do I offer anything of value to a sister and brother who's lost a sister, friends who've lost a friend? I've created irreparable damage in the worlds of people who love me. Gretchen loved me, Ava loved me, and Gretchen's family loved me. And I shunned that love with a cold-hearted, evil act. I disgraced my family. I'm hated by some beyond words, and have brought shame upon my name. Some would call for my death, and I can't offer any reasonable argument against that sentiment. All I can offer is acknowledgement of my actions and a prayer of forgiveness for my loss of self-control and for allowing my paranoia, greed, and addiction to drive this heinous act. Men live by their illusions, and my illusions saw the COVID pandemic as an end-of-the-world prophecy, an Armageddon that I felt compelled to escape no matter the cost. When actions become detached from consequences, that's when madness occurs. My addiction to and abuse of medicinal-grade marijuana, combined with untreated mental health issues, further fueled a chain reaction that led from one tragic event to the next. I offer this as mere circumstances leading up to my crime that will never be used as an excuse, because there's no excuse ever for what I've done. Every day I'm reminded of Gretchen. Gretchen's beautiful. She was kind. She was smart. She was giving. And she loved with her whole heart. Gretchen tried to be my friend. She tried to be my wife. She was someone who brought light into this dark world. She tried so hard to help me shake off my own darkness and to see all the beautiful things that life has to offer. And instead of nurturing the spirit of gratefulness, I chose a dreaded addiction that warped my mind and aided in my neurotic, destructive behavior. Instead of being a man, I chose to be a coward. I tried to steal what wasn't mine, and in the process I ended her life. Her life had value, her life had meaning, and I stole that life. It's not only the life, it's the time I've stolen from her family and mine. Time from every missed holiday, every celebration, time from every special moment that should have been shared with loved ones. It's a time stolen from her workplace where Gretchen was a valuable and respected co-worker. It's a time Gretchen's mom, Jane, has to spend packing up a house full of memories as she relives moments from a life taken too soon. It's a time Gretchen would have spent with Ava as a role model and confidant. And it's a time Gretchen would have spent offering guidance and support to her brother battling addiction. All of this time that I can't give back. I can't give her life back. I can't fix this. And I can't help the immense pain I've caused Ava, Jane, Sarah, Jeff Crane, Jeff Dreyer, Chuck, Charlie, Julia, Dawn, Errol, Amy, Erica, and the countless others whose Gretchen's life has touched in a meaningful way. And it hurts so much. But it'll never compare to the hurt I've caused everyone associated with her and me. At one point in my life, I lived to inspire people to become the best possible versions of themselves. Now I wake up every day knowing that my disregard for this valuable life stands in stark contrast to everything I try to instill in others and in myself. So what you say in a situation like this, I say to Ava, that you find the determination to accomplish your goals and the perseverance to rise above this tragedy. I say to Jane, I pray for your strength to handle stress and the discernment to make tough decisions. I say to Sarah, may you offer mercy to those who lack sense. I say to Jeff Crane, I pray for your courage to battle addiction. I say to Jeff Dreyer, may your compassion continue as you allow Ava to maintain her connection to Gretchen's family. I say to Harold and Dawn, I pray for recovery from the harm I've caused you and your company. And lastly, I say to my family, thank you from the depths of my soul for the grace you've shown in loving someone like me.
Nothing further, Judge.
Thank you very much. Ms. Nixon, I think it's time now for closed session.
Yes, Judge, and I believe the defense was requesting for imposition of sentence that Your Honor also calculate the days that he did from the time, which was the 20th till today.
What I intend to do is impose sentence no pro tunc to December 21st.
Okay.
Automatically include all of the days since that day.
Okay.
Yes, Judge, and I have an order, if the court would sign, I did show it to Ms. Nixon, just giving those numbers, since the actual plea sheet gives a different number, just so there's no confusion with DOC.
Okay.
May I approach?
Yes.
I'm sorry, there's a copy of the plea sheet there as well.
I have one.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Okay, Mr. Anthony, based on the negotiated plea bargain that Judge Gilman accepted on December 21st of 2020, which was contingent upon you providing the location of Gretchen Anthony's body or remains to the defense team, which was in turn provided to the Office of the State Attorney, which thereafter resulted in the discovery of her body or remains, and for which Judge Gilman has already adjudicated you to be guilty on count 1, second-degree murder, and count 2, kidnapping, in case number 20 CF 2881, and count 1, resisting arrest without violence, in case number 20 CF 2439. I will hereby impose the sentence that was agreed upon pursuant to the negotiated settlement as follows. As to case number 20 CF 2881, I sentence you to serve 38 years in the Florida Department of Corrections with credit for 270 days. I'm sorry, it's a total of 295 days. So I'm sorry, with credit for 295 days time served on each count, and I will not pro tunc this sentence back to December 21st just in case there's any confusion. And as to the lesser included misdemeanor offense in case number 20 CF 2439, I sentence you to serve 270 days in the Palm Beach County Jail with credit for all 270 days time served. All sentences for each count in each case are to be served concurrently. The court costs have previously been ordered in each case by Judge Dillon, so I will impose those same amounts that were ordered in each case now. And I don't know if DNA is provided at the initial plea conference on December 21st, but I will require that you provide samples of the DNA in court today. Anything else that you could think of, Mr.
Nothing further from the state, and I believe that, Madam Clerk, the record to make sure that we provided all information, judgment, score sheet.
I have your
Right.
judgments.
Okay.
I don't know that there's a score sheet.
I haven't noticed that we need an
Updated one, I think it's today's date and.
Okay.
Yeah. Ms. Bond, anything else that you could think of?
No, Judge.
All right. To the Crane family and to the family of Mr. Anthony, my deepest sympathies to all of you. I know you all are experiencing horrible loss today, particularly the Crane family. And again, my deepest sympathies to you all. And I'm so sorry that you all have to suffer through all this. So, with that being said, I'm just going to wait for the score sheet and we will be in recess.
So directly with
Kidnapping.
What?
That's the first degree punishment, right?
It is, yes.
So that's the first degree. Okay, well, I will. Okay, anything else for anyone?
Nothing further from state, Your Honor.
Okay.
Further from the defendant.
Very good. Thank you all very much. We'll be in recess.
Thank you, Judge.
Call your...